you doing today? Welcome to this new week. So like I promised, I'll be doing a full tutorial, a detailed tutorial about this particular flyer I did last week. So I'm going to be explaining everything I did, right from the layout phase to the effects that I added, everything that I did here. I'm going to show you in details. But first, I would like to describe the distribution of layouts. Okay, now quickly I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to open this, take this out one by one. First of all, one of the first assumptions you make is that your background is plain white, which represents the fact that your background should be the least in hierarchy. Whenever you have a detailed background, especially when it is not professionally or skillfully controlled, you have a misplaced distribution of hierarchy. So usually this is the kind of abstraction that I do. That is, of course, sometimes this is with your pencil and paper, but sometimes I do it on my laptop too, whichever one comes to me, whichever one, you understand. So but usually I do this on paper with my pencil. So but I'm doing this so that you can see clearly. Like I say, your background should have the least level of hierarchy. That's why it's white. So the element with the highest level of hierarchy will be pure black. Alright, so other elements will be in between. You understand? Other elements will be in between. That will be between white and black, that is gray. And also the sizes also determine all these things. All these shapes here are just levels of attention they command, not necessarily the size of, not necessarily their original size. They're just supposed. Now this represents this particular big box is not because the image is represent is big, but rather because the attention that image requires is that big. So that is why you can see I didn't necessarily cover the head as well, but I didn't even cover some part of the leg. I just need something that shows how demanding it is. You understand? So let me just leave this white background off for now. Next one is what? The title text. You can see that it's smaller in size, which tells you that okay, fine, this thing requires a less level of attention than the image. Alright, sometimes this could also be likened to the size. Alright, it also could be likened to the size, but you have to take it a step further by okay, I'm going to show you something now. You have to take it a step further sometimes. Let me just take this forward. You see that? Then you see no, that's one. Now look at this too. Normally this is bigger. This light gray box is bigger than this dark gray box, but in reality, that is in the actual design, this commands more attention than this. Meaning, if we're talking about size, this should be bigger, but we can't increase the size because it will misrepresent the positioning. Do you understand? So I'm going to put that back in. But so the next question is now, how can I make this look superior to this? That is by what? You drop down this to closer to white, and if this is going to be gray, then this one should be a lighter gray because it's going to dissolve into the background. It will fade into the background. You understand? Like I said, the brightest white represents the least in hierarchy, black represents the highest in hierarchy. So everything inside will be in between. You understand? So the closer a color is to white, meaning that it's lower in hierarchy. You understand? So don't just represent these things by size alone. You understand? That's where depth comes in. Alright, so this is supposed to be higher than this. So since it looks bigger than, in terms of size alone, this looks bigger than this, but I need this to be lesser. So how do I do that? I maintain their sizes the way they are, but I make this one have a brighter shade of gray than this, so that this is still dominant than this. Do you understand? So then we have the CTA. Understand? The CTA cannot necessarily be black because I don't think it commands that much level of attention either. You understand? All right. So it can also be likened to that. Just relatively about the same. Understand? So it is quite clear from here. Let me add this. It's quite clear from here that the progression of hierarchy starts from here to here to here. You might likely read this before you read this, or you definitely read this. Why? Because it contains an information that you will need. It contains the information of the venue and the rest of them. So definitely, even if you have read this, we definitely ask question where, and where are we having this event, blah blah blah. You definitely see it because it's part of the layout. You most likely see it. You know something is there. It's not that tiny either. You understand? So that is that. So look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. So all these things, they are not randomly positioned. They are carefully positioned. It's a controlled method. You understand? And like I said, I should mention to some of my private students that I take that sometimes when you look at most layouts, you always have this trend of this X or Z like kind of distribution. All right, you always have elements that are anchoring each other diagonally. This relates to this diagonally. They are not actually, if this exotic is on the same side as this, they might not do so well because it will look like this side has too many things than the left side, than the right side rather. But let's leave that let's leave that topic. Then also have some tiny anchors because you cannot have you cannot have more than one large item, a few medium items. That is this one, and these ones are the medium ones, then these ones are the tiny ones. All right, the tiny ones can be very much, understand, but the major one, which is the first one, only has to be one. It cannot be more than one. Then the one in the middle level of hierarchy should be at maybe like, it could also be one sometimes, but it could be like two sometimes. But most cases it should not be as much as what you have in the list in the lower class of hierarchy. That one can have many small things. In fact, there could be space for a logo here, but I didn't think of that when I was doing this design, so that's why it's not there. All right, so I'm going to move on to the pictures I used in this design, and and the colors I created for this design as well. So talking about the images I used and the colors, I think that those are the most important thing that you need. So like I said, search for one thing whenever you're trying to look for pictures on most of these sites. They are not like, they don't work like Google, because Google is it has a better search engine. So these guys, their search engine is not really that great, you understand, as compared to Google. You understand? So whenever you want to search for images, use like one word, because chances you will not be able to get more when guys are uploading these images. Most cases they use one word, or they use a phrase or a sentence. Now the chances of you getting a complete sentence exactly is less than 1%. You can't guess the exact sentence they use, because millions of people type different sentences into this place. So, and but if you type one word, there's a good chance that you will find a lot of other images, so you might have to keep searching. So like for this, I just chose one thing. I didn't even use the title text. I just used classic, because exotic, classic. If I didn't find what I wanted with classic, I would have used another word, but they'll be related. So you have to understand the adjectives that are associated with your design, so you know the kind of image you need to get, because the image has to reflect the emotion. The image doesn't necessarily have to show what it's doing. I don't need to get images of people partying. I don't need that. I just need an image that describes the emotion that the event is trying to be represented by. The event wants to be looked as a street jams kind of jamboree kind of thing. That is a different thing. It wants to look corporate. That's a different thing. It wants to look matured and classy. Now, classy in the sense of the corporate kind of class. The corporate kind of class is different from the actual street kind of class. You understand? But the idea is that understand what you need to do. All right, so I know what you can search for. So most times I know the kind of image I'm looking for before I search for them. Understand? So first you can see here, this is the image I used. I didn't really go too far. This and the one for Dubai. Where's that? It should be here somewhere. Okay, yeah, that's it. So I just downloaded both of them. That's all I needed, especially the fact that I knew what I was looking for. You understand? So Yeah, although sometimes when you look at images, you'll be able to tell how you are going to arrange them. All right, so let's just move. So talking about the colors I used, so most of the colors were generated from the most of the colors I used were generated from the image itself. So you actually look at it this way. Let me just take this out. They're generated from the background image. So this, let me just isolate it up for you. These are the colors I used for the design. As I said, they are generated from the image. I'm going to show you you can see the deep purple I selected. I think I picked it from one of these areas. Then I picked a pink. I'm not sure if it's this I picked, but I know I adjusted some colors. Like this one was supposed to be from here, but it was too greenish, so I selected cyan. Then instead of this vibrant red like something, I went for the purple. What would I call that? Indigo. But you get the idea. Then I looked for a brighter shade. I think I picked the bright shade from here. Alright. Then this green, I think this was selected manually. I just selected a direct complement to purple. Understand? That is plus or minus 180 degrees in hue value. Let me explain that. That is, assuming that's purple, if I want to get it direct complement, take 80 degrees out of this. 180 degrees out of this. That is 191. Oh, okay. I think that complement was this instead. I think that complement was this. So then that means I got this one some other way. I think I extended it further. Yes, I know it was kind of manual. Yeah, it was manual. So there you have it. I think that's where I got that one from. Yeah, that's where I got that one from. Notice that I'm avoiding colors that are getting too saturated. The saturation value is usually not, my saturation value is usually no more than 85, but most times I'm around 80 maximum. Okay, except this cyan. Yeah, but averagely I don't really exceed 80 usually, except if something like this, I barely go above that boundary. So that's for the color. So we'll just go straight into the design now. Create a new document. Like I said, 1080, so you can use 16-bit, 8-bit, whichever one works for you. If your laptop is not so strong in terms of specifications, you can just stay with 8 bits. But you can use, I use 16 bits, but I'm trying to avoid drag as much as possible. So that's why I'm using 8 bits. But on normal work, I use 16 bits. Alright. So I'm just going to create this. I don't have to title it. So whenever I want to start my design, especially when I have a layout in mind, you can tell these are our layouts, right? This is what I distributed. Although with your pencil skills you can do this better with your pencil more freely. I actually I didn't have to go I didn't have to hover around too much before arriving at this. In fact, I already had this in mind. If I didn't sketch it, I already had it in mind before actually starting the design. So, but for your case, if you don't, if you have not trained your mind so well, you might not want to bank too much on that. So you might want to sketch out layouts, a number of layouts. All right. So always know this thing. Have one focus. Move to the next one, and as it goes down to the least important element, make sure that you are dropping the level of attention as it goes. All right. At the same time, you don't have to worry about your background, especially when you're still sketching. It's when you start the design that you can start thinking about how your background should look like. All right. So first things first, I've already cut my images. So I'm not going to do that in this tutorial. I believe every one of us should know how to cut images, and if you don't, if you want me to recommend the tutorial for you, you can send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll recommend it there for you to help you cut your images. Alright, so alright, now one of the first things you should do is not to start putting crazy effects yet. Alright, one of the first things you should do is to arrange the images in a way that they look like they are agreeing with each other. Alright, so you don't cause confusion. Alright, so first of all, I usually have to create my guides so that I can pay attention to my margins. Yes, my margins, I always use this 108 pixels ultra for my margin. So looking at this, I know that this place is a straight cut, so definitely it cannot be higher than this level. Alright, at the same time, I don't want to put it here because it looks like she's looking out of it, she's facing out of the design, not so great. So I could just reflect it, but anyway, I didn't think of that time, so I just brought it down about this place. Notice how it's hovering around one of the thirds of this division. Alright, if you don't know what rule of thirds is, I think you should check it out. Alright, I might speak about that later in the future, but not for now. Alright, so next, what do? I try to see how I can balance this particular background because it's looking weird. It's looking weird. There's no way you take a picture because this is like the horizon line, right? The person that took this picture took it from a lower angle, meaning that the horizon line when he was taking this photograph of this lady was also very much low. So for these two to work together, the horizon line has to be similar or close to each other or exactly on each other. So this one is quite low. I can't go into deep explanation for that particular topic, but just do what I do. All right, so I'm just going to take this down until it looks like, yes, something like this. All right, something like this. I think that is quite low enough for that. Yeah, something like this. So one thing I did was that I don't like the way it was touching the lady. I didn't like the way it was touching the lady, so I wanted to like reduce the size, then replicate it. Something like, I think I preferred this then. I think I'll just take this off a bit, then duplicate the size. So I just take it. Now I'm going to reflect it. Why am I reflecting it? You're going to see that now. Let me just off this. I reflect it so that it will look like it didn't stop. To look like it didn't stop, like the image is continuous. You understand? So I'm just going to duplicate this for future use. No, this one. Then merge this together. Please don't work destructively. The reason why I'm working destructively here is because I already know where I'm heading to. Alright, okay, most times you don't just merge things anyhow, you just work with smart object instead, because so that you can revert. Alright, so just move on. I'm just going to cut this one out, so I have just this one left. Alright, so yes, looking at that, so the next thing I did was, you see this, we have this left, this white space, we need to occupy that with something. All right, so what I did was I created a solid color in the background instead of white. Now I picked a color that was very much close to the edge of the design. All right, I picked that. Look for one of the darkest ones. Yes, okay, so I'll just keep this one somewhere. I took this, let me just duplicate it because I've seen it. I took this, then layer marks. The ideal thing would be for you to paint through, but I don't like painting through. I like it when it's seamless. Alright, so I just use a gradient in my layer marks instead. So I select my gradient, it's black to white, note that. Then at the close, not exact edge, but somewhere close, then drag down. You shouldn't go into the image because I don't want to kill the beauty of this building. Understand? So even that is kind of too much for that. So, but the idea is that you should have a seamless blend into that image above. All right, so I might just want to focus on this side and clean out the layer mask a bit so that it doesn't cover the beauty of the image too much of the building. So I'm going to take this down to 20, change it to white, increase my brush size, then manually take this down to 0. Okay, yeah, take down 0, then manually just the building alone, just the building. I think that is okay for me. So once that is done, remember this one that we duplicated, remember this. All right, we are going to do something to it. Let's duplicate it again. I'm not sure we might need it, but let's just do that. I like to save. Let me just leave it behind these two. I'll just keep it on that. So what I did was I came to the filter. You notice I use this effect very much. I came to filter, blur, I came to motion blur. Alright, use 90 degrees angle and usually around 500. Yeah, that was what I did. So that was it. So I just transform, reflect, flip vertically. Alright, I think that was exactly how I did it. Yes, that was exactly how I did. Nothing really special. So that was that. Then I have my image. So our background is not done. Again, our background is not done. Another thing you must pay attention to is that, say, in most cases, you can't have a sharp image close to you and the far image is also very, very sharp. No. Alright, it doesn't work that way. When something is far away from you, it's what? It's blur. Okay, so I'm going to apply blur to this image, but in a controlled manner. Emphasis on that, in a controlled manner. All right, so I'm going to take this and apply what they call it. First of all, I think I'm going to convert this to a smart object. Yeah, so I'm going to take auxiliary field blur. Now you're going to see this. First, I make the top part very blur. Alright, 15. No, I put that at 18. Alright, 18. I put here also 18. Where you are looking at is this center part. That's where your eye level is. That's where your eye is actually pointing to. So it will be a bit more sharper. I put this one too at 18. But on this building, because I want the beauty of the building to also be seen, I put this at maybe 12. 12 is too small. Put it at 9. I put this here. Then on this side, I put it at maybe 3. Yeah. I want the beauty to still be visible because it's part of what beautifies the background. Alright, so this is going to fade out a bit. Yes, this part. I think I like this graduation here. Okay, I'm not sure this is exactly how I did it, but get the idea. Okay, so that's that. So what next did I do? I think I created a gradient map. So what I did now, because what I did was that, okay, I took this, changed it to color dodge. Alright, I duplicated it, then on the T, put vertical again and put it down, because I want the color dodge will add a kind of beauty to the alright, so that's that. For that, all these are under the background. Alright, so I usually just like to group all these things background. So I think what we have next is curves layer, because I was trying to like think it was too flat for me. Black curves. Yep. Then something like that. I needed it to be more rich in terms of vibrance. All right. So that's that part. Then I think I was done with my background. So the next thing was to move to my image. So I just usually group this as image. So I'm going to add the color first. So that's the color. Alright, so on this image I'm going to add gradient map. Yep. Note that it's only on the image. Before that, select this, not this. So I'm going to show you something before the gradient map. I notice I put a curved layer. Now you wonder what that curved layer is for. We're going to add a black and white adjustment layer entirely. I'm going to explain why we are doing that. Now, why are we doing that? Okay, now sometimes when you are trying to blend images together, you first of all look at the perspective. Good. Look at the lightning. All right, does the lightning blend? Look at how dark this point is. Does it rhyme? This image has a lot of contrast from the bright and dark region, but this one has little on that, and that's also great. All right, so what we do here is that we try to match the dark regions, make the darks alike. All right, make the darks alike and make the brights also alike. All right, let their bright points be similar to each other. All right, so you combine this to black and white is so that you can concentrate on the darks or on just the brightness levels. All right, you're just concentrating on the brightness and levels, not the color. You're not distracted by color. All right, now take this black away, you see something different. All right, so you can, for some reason they are more blended together. All right, so I'm going to up this my color. Then of course, you know, that was not the end of everything. I also applied another gradient map that was on the face and hand alone. All right, so one of the things I did was that I blurred out. I didn't want that I didn't want it to affect the face and the hand, so I cleaned that out. Black and white. So I cleaned them out. Okay, so the face and the hands are clean. So I want to apply the gradient map to the face and the hand separately. All right, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to copy this layer marks, but note that black hides, but rather I want the black to reveal, not hide. All right, so I'm going to invert it so that the effect will be only on the face. All right, so I'm coming back here to change it because I know I used something reddish. So this is what I'm going to use here. Something dark here. Okay. Then something somewhere here. Okay, then white on the extreme. All right, so I think that does that for me. That does that. So I don't use black and white layer anymore, so I'm just going to delete that. Then once that is done, what I usually do is to create more sharpness. I usually merge everything together. That is, we have our background and image ready. No, the image is not done. But let's do that now. Control Shift Alternate E. All right, merges it up here. We're just going to duplicate that because I will need that later. I'm going to group that in a folder I call FX. Okay, so of this, then come here, select the last one, come here, go to Order, High Pass. 1 pixel is enough. What that does is just to sharpen the image, so I just convert it to overlay. Okay, it makes the image sharper, sort of. Just duplicate it twice, that's all. That's all. That's all for that. And sometimes okay, I'll leave it like that. Then I added some effects to the image. I did let me just leave this on. Outer glow. Alright, I think outer glow was that color. Yep. No, it was not that color. Outer glow was purple. Sorry, it was cyan. Then I take this out a bit. You don't want outer glow to be much. Just like that is okay. Alright, just like that, very little. So I can keep this at 24. Okay, keep this at 6. Alright, then you now come to your drop shadow. Drop shadow will now be much. Select same blue so that it's select the same color. Yeah. So you now what overlay does for you, it makes the outer glow actually more pronounced. Alright, so you might want to try to spread out a bit if you want or not. Usually that's how it works. That's all. Not that might be too much, you might want to reduce that. So I have this ready, so more or less I have this. No, I think I did one more thing. You see what we did here, this background. Yeah, I carried it, copied it, put it on the image. So I'm just going to change that to not color judge anymore, to overlay. Then I'm going to bring that control and then drag that down. The reason is because I want to, there might be some text here, so this is not distracting. I'm going to add the layer marks, only applying it to the bottom side. First of all, invert it. I think I'm going to use this rather. I don't like the, so I'm going to take this here, then reflect it. First let's turn it on, reflect it, vertical, then change this to take in the layer marks there. Pop this one, change this to overlay. I think that's what I'm looking for. Yes, this is what I'm looking for. So next thing here, we're supposed to move on to the title text and maybe other things. So what I'm just going to do is to basically, this is the hardest thing in this design. So I'm just going to save time here, I'm just going to copy what we used, or I'm just going to do this for you. Image done, effect. Usually I like to off that because that should be the last thing you should be doing, not in between. So next will be title. Just put this as content. Under content you have title. Okay, so what I do is in that title create the first text. I'm using Bieber's Noe, exotic. I copy them as two different texts. Alright, for that particular design I'm using the light. I think I use the light version. Okay, so just increase this just increase this, then turn on our guides, and note that I'm going to keep this to align with the third division. That is, this is the first, this is a dividing line as opposed to this to this under dividing line. So I'm aligning this to this dividing line here. So I think that size is good for me. Yeah. Alright, so from the J, take that down. I think it was like the same. Just come here and copy this one. Alright, why is it not changing? Okay, I'm not sure if I copied that correctly. Yeah, Friday. Okay, and I'm going to change both of them to side alignment, then realign them again. Alright, then I think I'm going to leave it there. So bring out my color again, because I'm going to apply the I'm going to start with Friday. No, I'm going to start with exotic, like we did the other time. Outer glow first. Okay, I think I'm not sure I used that. I used was it this or this? Okay, let me use that. And then I don't think it was this much. 3 18 oh no, let's say 12 there, about 12 15. Okay, that's for outer glue. Then you come to overlay, sorry, drop shadow rather. Come here, select that color. So remember, we're selecting green. For some reason, I don't know why green is bringing out the purple, but it did. So we're just going to work with that. I don't think this was that much either. So if at all want to do anything, increase. So you might just increase this one a bit. Instead of 3, you can just keep it. You can still keep it at 3 or 6. Let's see where 6 takes us to. No, 6. This is kind of too much. So let me see. I'm going to put this back at 3. Or let me just put this at 4. No, 3 is good. Then 12, yeah, good. So I'm just going to copy the same effect on Friday. Just what we are going to do is to change the colors, the entire effect. Right, what we're just going to do is to change the color. I use cyan for Friday. Yeah. Then one more thing I did was to add more light to some places. So first of all, I'm going to start with the exotic. So I'm going to select green, which I used, change this to overlay. I'm going to create more emphasis on some places. Some places will shine more than others. That's what I want to do. So overlay, the layers are on overlay. I think I'm changing this flow to 50 about. So usually I have one big one. I'm going to just put at the center here, then down, that one small one. So I think this is kind of too much. It's kind of too much. I'm going to do that again. going to put this at 20 instead. I'm going to put this here 20, then come down. Alright, so you must still increase that if it's too small. Okay, so on the same layer, select for cyan, photo for blue, so do this one, right? And then just drop it down. Yeah, we can just select this, add for this one, it looks a bit so off the color, so we can see that we're getting somewhere, right? Good. So what next after this? Let's turn our guides again. Okay, so a title should come here. Okay, yeah. So moving on to others. The next one, yep, look at the spacing and keep it. You can see that the height of this text is like equal to the space here. It's not the fixed rule, but I just really like to be guided. Yeah. So this font, you can use any font for this, but me, I'm using Poppins here, 72 points, 30 bolds. I use the particular color from here. Yeah, but you can see it has a different feel to it. Why does it have a different feel to it? That is because this particular text is on color dodge. Alright, and I want you to note something too. The particular color is selected. I'm not sure it's the same as this. Oh, it's actually the same. So I use color dodge because now you might have asked, why didn't you use white? Now, like I said, everything cannot be as attractive. When something is big, you should be careful to make it as bright as, especially when you should be careful of making it bright, especially when there's something else in that design that should be superior to it. If I make this white, it's going to compete with this part one, especially as it's the thick font. You can see I only maintained white on the smaller one. That will not be much of a competition. Understand that? So I just emphasize on 7 p.m. Usually emphasis is good when you put emphasis on a smaller section than to put on a larger section. Some people might think, okay, why not put the emphasis on red carpet? No, I think putting on 7 p.m. is better for me. And just explain why, because I have this thought. Red carpet is a longer word than 7 p.m. So red carpet is already more than 7 p.m. by length of word. So 7 p.m. has to balance up by something. So red carpet is a regular font width. So 7 p.m. should be like a bolder one. So I think they both have something that they have above each other. So it's kind of balanced. That's what I tell myself. That's not the fixed rule, like I always say. It's not a fixed rule. Alright, but that's how I like to think about it. So I'm going to drop this here. Alright, so you see the design is already complete. So the next thing again, I type them all separate. You can see I didn't use color dodge here. I used linear dodge. Alright, you can see that the font size for Lunge Royale and El Nino, all these details are random. Please, they are random. 24 points. But for other things like music, the address, and this, they are at 18 points. Alright, just to create contrast between them. Contrast, you can see that this one, I think these are regular. I think they're both at regular. No. Okay, the other ones it's on medium. So just to create contrast, you understand? It's good when you have contrast in your design, no matter how little. It just gives that interesting feel to it. Alright, so that's for that one. So every other thing, I think you should be able to do I don't need to give a detailed description of how I typed all this out. Anyways, I'm sure you can do that. So it's good when you have everything typed out. Okay, all these details are fake. Please, they are all fake. You can see this is at Elisha. I don't think there's any address like this in Elisha or Osun State. What do we want them to do next? Get tickets or ask questions at this address. Everything is there. Alright, so typically the design is done. You see, so we can just come up with our effects. Yeah, turn it out. Then we'll continue with the rest. Then I applied sharp. Yes, done. That is done. That is done. That is done. Then I have to create noise. Create under. Then shift backspace. Make sure that this is set to 50% gray. Then I come to noise, add noise. I usually do this at 10 and overlay. Okay, now you will notice something that I did in that design. I first of all, I don't want the noise on the face, and I don't want the noise to affect this. It can affect the other place, but not this, not where this, that, not here. Anyways, so what I did was I looked for the image, not the background, the image itself. I look for the image itself, select, generate a selection from there. Right, that's control and click. Then use it to create. Wow, use it to create a layer mask, but that's supposed to be inverted because I don't want the noise on the shape. So I don't want harsh edges. So I'm just going to blur that out. How do you blur that out? You just increase the feather. All right, that's how you blur it out, so it's not too sharp. Then manually come in here, manually take my brush and do for here too, because I don't like the fact that it's noisy there. So when you're done brushing out the part that overlaid on this title text, drop down the transparent, the fill, not opacity, to 40, because so that the noise is not harsh. You might not be able to notice this, but on your end you'll be able to notice it when you are creating it yourself. All right, I want to assume that you will try this out by yourself later. So when you're done with that, so the next set of effects I added were, I think the next one I did was I added color lookups. Yeah, color lookups. So I started with the first one, Crypt Worm. There are many others. Consider, but we're only doing the script Worm. But I don't think I like it everywhere. I don't want it to be this. I'm going to change the. I just needed something different, alright? So I don't want to use it naturally the way it came. So I'm just going to use hard mix, because it's not what we are going to. So reduce this down very low, let's say 18, there about 18. So I think I like this, but at the same time I don't think I like how harsh it is on the face. Alright, so going to this brush, select your brush, make sure this is black. Flow, yeah, that should be good. And just clean it out because you don't need that. Alright, you don't need that on the face. We just need to concentrate on the face. Alright, so that's that one. Then the next color lookup I did was another. Alright, so I think this, I dropped, this is too much still, so I dropped this. I changed it. That one was normal, so I think it was 60 or maybe 40. The idea is try not to go too extreme, because at the end of the day, when you send this thing to your phone, because especially if you're not using a 4K screen or something that has very rich contrast on the screen, you might not be able to see the actual vibrance when you take it to your phone or a very, very rich good screen, then you see the impact. Alright, so just keep things minimal. That's why I, as much as possible, try to avoid things that are too bright, or I send it to my phone, check it out. If it's good enough, no problem. If it's not, then I come back and make changes. Alright, so quickly, one more effect that we added on the image. So I forgot we didn't add that. One more effect we added on the image, and that is oil paint. It appeared to me like the face was kind of rough. I don't know if I already applied this, but it's not there, so I'm just going to apply this now. It's not there, so I'll just filter, stylize, oil paint. So I think these are the settings I used. Alright, so let's keep it that way. 0.4, blah 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 blah. That's good for me. So that's that for there, and I think that is all for this design. So thanks for staying with me. I'll see you for the next project we'll be working on. Thank you.